but cool. So, the agenda for today's class is pretty simple, guys. So we'll first spend the first 15-20 minutes on, doing the complexity analysis on, a quick sort that is pending. And once we wrap up with that, we will start up with, some problems that have been uploaded on the portal, and they can give you a good idea of what kind of questions or what is the level of questions that you can expect in the test, right? Cool. Okay. No doubt sessions. I think the longest palindromic subsequence not required at this point of time. Not required. Is the longest palindromic subsequence. This is a problem of DP. Okay. It's a DP or recursion. Okay. So not needed at this stage. Okay. Let's get started, guys. Let's get started because I want to spend maximum amount of time on problem solving. So the earlier we can wrap up the analysis of quicksort, the more time we can spend on problem solving, right? And that is my major focus for today's class. Okay, today and tomorrow, whatever time we get. Okay. Okay. But the question is given by the team. Okay. On the bhai aisa question. No. Longest palindromic subsequence is not needed at this point of time. You can skip that. Okay. Okay. So I think yesterday's class would have helped you, right, to understand how the flow will be going on, right? So let us just quickly revise what quicksort was and, do a time complexity, space complexity analysis for quicksort, right? So the most important part of the quicksort was the partition function, right? And, depending on, okay, I'll just pause the charts for the time being, okay? And then we can actually talk up a little bit later, okay? So that we are done quickly. I just want to get done with the remaining part of the topics as quick as possible, right? So we understood that, yes, the basic idea of quicksort was the partition function, right? And what was the partition function doing? The partition function was selecting an element as the pivot and making sure that that element goes to its correct position. And what do I mean when I say that element is at its correct position? All the elements that were lesser than the pivot, or let's say lesser than equal to the pivot, are to the left-hand side. And all the elements that are greater than the pivot, they are to the right side, okay? And once I have partitioned the array like this, I tell you, boss, now you have two parts in your array, the left part and the right part. Now I will apply quicksort on the left and the right part. And once the left and the right parts are sorted and, your pivot element is at its correct location, then the entire array will become sorted. So quicksort basically is dependent on recursion, or it basically employs the strategy of divide and conquer, where we break our, bigger problem into smaller sub-problems. And this was the basic code, right? Ki boss, this function is expected to sort the array from index L till R. So if L is greater than equal to R, that means either you are looking at the part of an array consisting of only one element, which doesn't require any sorting, or if L is greater than R, that means the part of the array that you are looking at, that is invalid. So I simply return. Otherwise, what do? I call my partition function. This partition function will be choosing an element as the pivot, and we have written our logic in such a way that we choose ARR of L as the pivot. Okay, it will make sure that the pivot goes at its correct location, will return the partition index back to you. And then you will call the quicksort function on the left part, which is from L till partition index -1. And then you will call quicksort on the right part. And once the left and the right parts are sorted, then your entire array will get sorted. Okay. And we also saw the basic idea of this partition function yesterday, okay? We had two pointers, I and j. I moved forward, j moved backward, right? So what was the basic idea? I moves forward until it gets an element that is greater than pivot. And then j moves backward until it gets an element less than equal to pivot. And after that, you check if I is less than j, that means an element greater than pivot is occurring before an element that is less than equal to pivot. So you will just do a swapping. Okay. And if I and j cross each other, right? If I becomes greater than j, then what do? We just stop the process. And we know that j is the correct location for the pivot. So we swap ARR of L with ARR of j. So that was the basic, idea that we had developed in yesterday's class. Okay. Now, what I want to do today is first, we start with the analysis of quicksort, right? And what I will tell you, the time complexity of quicksort, right? How much time basically quicksort takes, that is highly dependent on where your partition happens. Okay. The time complexity is highly dependent on where my partitioning happens. And where will the partition happen? The partition will in turn depend on what element you are choosing as the pivot. Okay. the element that you choose as the pivot, accordingly, that will result in a different partition location. Okay. So time complexity highly dependent on partition. Partition is dependent on what element you choose as the pivot. So in an essence, if I want to tell you, right, the time complexity of quicksort will depend onto what element you are choosing as the pivot. Okay. Now, let's take a very basic case, right? Let's say you have an array of n integers. Okay. I'm just drawing an array, not marking integers and all. We just want to do an analysis. Okay. So this is an array of n integers, right? And let's say you choose a pivot, right? And what I am telling you, assume that at every time your partitioning happens in the middle of the array. Okay, what I am telling, assume that every time your partition is created in the middle of the array. Then what happens, guys? First of all, you have an entire array of size n on which you call the partition function and quicksort, right? Then what will happen? The partitioning happens at the middle, right? So then what I will do? I will call quicksort on two smaller subparts or two smaller subarrays. And approximately the size of these two smaller arrays will be n by 2 each. Assume that when you call the partition function on these arrays, again the partitioning happens at the middle. Right? Then you will call quicksort on the left part, which will consist of approximately n by 4, and the right part, which consists of approximately n by 4. Similarly, you will call quicksort on the left and the right part. Here also the size of the array will be n by 4 each. And again, assume that the partitioning happens in the middle. So just assume that in every stage when you are calling the partition function, right? Let's assume that the partitioning happens at the middle. Obviously, it will be dependent on what your pivot is. But let's assume that you are selecting the pivot in such a way that the partition always happens in the middle. So what ideally happens? First of all, you had an array of size n. Okay. You called the partition function here. Partition happened in the middle. Then you will be calling quicksort on two smaller parts, right? The left part and the right part, which is of size n by 2 each. Again, when you call quicksort on the size of n by 2, you will obtain a partitioning. And let's assume the partitioning happens at the middle. And then you will call quicksort on the left part and the right part. Okay. So like this, just assume that every time you call the partition function, the partitioning is happening, it's happening at the middle. So what happens, guys? You will be calling quicksort on the left and the right parts, right? And the left and the right parts will be reduced in sizes by half, exact half. Then if you are calling partition on an array of size n by 4, assume that the partition happens in the middle. Then you will call quicksort on two arrays of size n by 8 each. And till when will this continue? Till I reach an array of size 1, or till I reach a part of an array of size 1. Okay. As soon as the array size becomes 1, the part of the array that you want to sort, the size goes down to 1. You know that, boss, now you don't have any work to do. So you can simply return. So if I assume my partitioning is happen always in the middle, the kind of recursion tree that you can expect is something like this. Dekh lo. Every time partitioning happens at the middle, and then you call quicksort on the left and the right parts, right? Until when this will go on? Till you reach 1, right? I'm just drawing the last case, right? Till you basically reach 1 size array. Okay. So now if I ask you, boss, at every level, see, this was an array of size n. Here you called quicksort on an array of size n by 2. Here you called quicksort on an array of size n by 4. And likewise, the last level will be an array of size 1. So can anybody tell me how many levels are there in this recursive tree? How many levels are there in this recursive tree? Soch ke batao. Log n, correct? I think we have done this discussion ample amount of time. So the total number of levels in this recursive tree is log n. There are log n levels, right? And what is the work you are doing at every level? What is the work that you are doing in a quicksort function? The work that you are doing in a quicksort function is basically the partition logic. Okay. And what is the time taken in the partition function? Big O of n. Okay. So if you look at this level, when you call partition on an array of size n, it will take big O of n time. This level will take big O of n time. Again, here you have two arrays of size n by 2 each. So you will call partition on this, partition of this. So this level also takes a total of big O of n time. N by 2 plus n by 2 is big O of n. So you will see that at every level, you are basically doing big O of n work. Because dekho na, when you have 4 small parts of size n by 4 each, ultimately you will be calling the partition function on each one of them, right? And we saw that the time complexity of partition function was big O of n, where n is the number of elements in the array. So big O of n by 4 plus n by 4 plus n by 4 plus n by 4, that is big O of n. So at every level, I am doing big O of n work. And there are log n levels in total, right? So the time complexity will become n log n, number of levels into the work that you are doing at each level. And I tell you guys, boss, this is the best case runtime of quicksort. You can write it as omega of n log n. Okay. So partitioning happening exactly at the middle, that is the best case scenario. And in that case, what happens is we get a runtime of n log n. This is the best case of quicksort. Okay. And what is the space complexity of quicksort, guys? Can anybody help me with the space complexity? The best case space complexity. Anybody? Log n? Will everyone agree with me? Log n? Boss, extra array to aap kuch bana nahi rahe ho, right? You are not making an extra array. So what will contribute to the space? The call stack only, right? The implicit call stack that you are maintaining. And what will be the maximum number of function calls in the call stack? The depth of this tree, right? So what is the depth? Log n. So the best case space complexity is log n. And this is implicit call stack, right? You are not doing any extra space declaration on your own, right? But that is it, okay? So this is the best case analysis of quicksort. Okay, it's highly dependent on what you choose as the pivot. Okay. Now, what is the worst case, right? What can be my worst case? Now, let me choose an array. Let me choose an already sorted array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Let me choose this. Okay. So, and let's say that always you are choosing ARR of L as the pivot. Always I am choosing ARR of L as the pivot. So what happens? Try to understand, guys. First of all, I will be calling this quicksort on an array of size n. Okay? You have an array of size n to deal with. Okay. Now what do? You choose this one as the pivot. You choose this one as the pivot and call your partitioning function. Now, guys, tell me, once the partition happens, where will the partition be created? Here itself. Everyone agrees? So what will I say? Okay, you call the partition function on this array of size and it will take big O of n time. Now the left part has no content. See, there is no left part of this. There is no left part of this partition. There is only an array of size n minus 1. So I will call quicksort on an array of size n minus 1. See, the partition is happening at the left end. Dekho, the partition is happening at the left end. Okay? So you are calling it on an array of size n minus 1. Now again, you will choose this element as the pivot. Yes, you choose 2 as the pivot, and then you will call the partition function on an array of size n minus 1. Again, it will take big O of n minus 1 time, and again the partition will be created here itself. There is no left part. Then you will call quicksort on the right part of the array which has a size n minus 2. So you will agree that if you have an already sorted array, and if you pick ARR of L always as the pivot element, then what will happen? The partition is always created at the extreme left end. So first of all, you had an array of size n, then you will call quicksort on an array of size n minus 1, then on an array of size n minus 2, then the partition will be created here, you will call it on an array of size n minus 3, n minus 4, till you get to 1. Now tell me, guys, how many levels are there in this recursive tree? Kitne levels hai yahan pe? There are n levels. Here there are n different calls to quicksort, right? N different calls to quicksort. And what is the work you are doing in every call? When you call quicksort on an array of size n, what is it you are doing? Partition on an array of size n. This will take big O of n. This will take big O of n minus 1. This will take n minus 2. This will take n minus 3. This will take 1. So if I add up the total work that you are doing, if you add up the total work, it is 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 up till n. Something like this, right? So it gives you an idea, n into n plus 1 by 2. So it is roughly big O of n square. You can imagine, right? There are n different levels, and in every level you are calling the partition function, right? So it's n into n approximately, which is big O of n square. So I see that, boss, if you are very unlucky, okay, if you choose the pivots in this manner, okay, it's highly dependent on the pivot, right? So if you get a sorted array and you choose pivots like this, then you will end up into a runtime complexity of big O of n square. And this is the worst case of quicksort, okay? So the worst case time complexity of quicksort is big O of n square. And what is the worst case space complexity? Big O of n. Okay, why? Because this time the depth of the tree goes to n. So there will be n context in the call stack in the worst case, right? So this is the worst case time and space complexity of quicksort. Okay. Now see, guys, I will show you that for a same input, See, if you got a sorted array, okay, if I got a sorted array and I always choose ARR of L as the pivot, then I was landing into the worst case time, right? But let's say you are getting a sorted array, okay, and you always choose the middle element as the pivot, then won't you land up into the best case time complexity? Search ke dekho, guys, you have a sorted array, and if I always choose the middle element, then the partition is here, left side this, right side this. Again, you are choosing the middle element, so always the partition will break the array into two parts. So you will see that depending on what pivot you are choosing, you will get a different runtime. Okay. Is it making sense, guys? Let's say you have a reverse sorted array, right? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Ab isme kya hoga? Let's say you choose this as the pivot. Okay, you choose this as the pivot. Now what happens? You have been calling quicksort on an array of size n. Partitioning happens. And what will happen, guys? 8 will come here and 4 will come here. So there is a left part to take care of. And what is the size? You will call quicksort on an array of size n-1. Then you will choose this element as the pivot and the partition will create, happen here itself. So now you will call quicksort on an array of size n-2. So the partitioning will happen alternatively at the left and the right ends, but still it will give you a runtime of big O of n square only. Okay. So highly dependent on pivot. What element you choose as the pivot, that will give you the time complexity accordingly. Okay. And in the worst case, you have big O of n time space complexity, right? Why? Because there are n different levels in this call stack if you see very carefully. Okay. That is why. Cool. So that is the worst case time and space complexity. Now you will say, hey, if it is so much dependent on the pivot, right? What do we do generally? Okay. So if somebody asks you, what is the worst case? Big O of n square. What is the worst case space complexity? Big O of n. What is the best case? L log n. Best case space complexity? Log n. Right. Now you will ask me, hey, others, what happens in the real life situations that we do? Right. So what is generally observed is whenever you do a sorting, okay, like in general, jo people karte hai, right? The people that do. So let's say you have an array, okay, 8, 7, 2, 1, 5, 8, 7, any, I'm just taking a random array, right? And let's say you want to sort from L till R. So what people generally do is they choose a random element to be the pivot, okay? To make sure that you don't hit this worst case of big O of n square, people choose a random element as the pivot. We were always choosing ARR of L as the pivot, right? 8. But what is generally done in quicksort is you will generate a random index, okay? Mere ko pata hai the array that I have to sort is from index L till index R. So I will generate a random index between L and R. So let's say I got the random index of this. Mere ko ye random index mila. This is the random index. So I will choose 5 as the pivot. Okay. So generally we choose random pivots in our quicksort. Okay. And that is known as randomized quicksort. Okay. And it has been observed empirically, right? That when you choose random elements as pivot for quicksort, the average case runtime, in the average case, you can expect a runtime of n log n only. Empirically, it has been observed. But still, if your luck is very bad and randomly, मान लो एक array ऐसा था 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or whatever, right? Let's say this was the array, right? And first of all, your random index pointed at 1, then it pointed at 2, then it pointed at, let's say 5, then still you will be ending up into n square. So even though randomized quicksort is done, right? Still the worst case, if you are very unlucky, can lead you to n square. But it is generally observed that when you do a randomized quicksort, then the average case runtime is theta of n log n. Okay? Is it making sense what I'm trying? This is an empirical result, right? So it's been observed over a lot of inputs and outputs. How many of you are understanding what I'm trying to say? I think the chats are open for all or not? Allow the participants to chat. Yeah. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Yes. Okay. So now I ask you one question. Nope. Bhai, mere ko ek cheez batao. What did you understand this part? Was this part clear? Ki if in a sorted array you choose the elements like this, then it will lead to n square time complexity. Was this part clear? Bhai, try to understand, guys. Try to understand. You had an array like this. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? I chose this as the pivot. Okay. So this was an array of size and you called the partition function. Okay. Now here is the partition. This element is the pivot. So here only the partitioning will happen. Is there a left part? No. Is there a right part? Yes. So I will call quicksort on an array of size n minus 1. Again, you call the partitioning function. It will take n minus 1 time and the partitioning will happen here only. Again, you call quicksort on an array of size n minus 2. Then again, the partitioning will happen here. Then you call, quicksort on an array of size n minus 3. Okay. So if you are choosing your pivots like this, you might end up in big O of n square time complexity. But if you are choosing pivots in such a way that the partitioning always happens in the middle, then you will enter into the best case time of n log n. And what we generally do is we choose a random element as the pivot. Okay. N. On the, average space, you can assume it to be n, like, okay. Now, or log n bhi pakad sakte ho. I am not very sure on this, but you can expect it to be log n also. Okay. I'll tell you how do you choose the random element, right? So what I'm trying to tell you guys is here, ek minute ruko, I need to get an empty slide first. I'll use this slide. So let's say what I'm trying to say is that generally, if you choose the pivots in ascending or descending order, then you will, lead yourself into n square time complexity. Okay. So मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Suppose you have this array 8, 7, 2, 1, 3, 5. Okay, this is the array, and you want to do a quick sort, right? So generally, what is done is people generally choose a random element as pivot. Random element. Okay, we choose a random element so the partition happens randomly. Okay, and you don't hit the worst case time complexity. So it has been empirically observed that if you choose a random element as the pivot, the average case run time is n log n. Okay. But still, if you are very, very unlucky, let's say your day is very bad, right? I generate a random index. Let's say this is index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I generate a random index between 0 and 5. And let's say the random index comes out to be 3. So I will choose this element as the pivot. Where will the partition happen, guys? Here. See, you will understand what I'm trying to say. The partition will happen here. Then again, you will call quicksort on an array of size n minus 1. Now, this is index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's say I generate a random index between 1 and 5 and you get the random index as 2. Then again, the partition will happen at the extreme end. So if your partition happens at the extreme end, you will run yourselves into a worst case time complexity of n square. Okay. But yeah, generally it has been observed that randomized quicksort leads you to an average case runtime of n log n. But still, if your luck is bad, you can end up in big O of n square. Okay. Now I will just ask you a very, very small question and then, we will move ahead. So, boss, the quicksort that I have taught you guys, right? The partition function, right? We always took ARR of L as the pivot. I always choose ARR of L as the pivot. So, can you tell me what is a quick and clever logic? Ki boss, now I want to write a randomized quicksort. I want to do minimal changes to my code, but I don't always want to take this element as the pivot. What can I do? Can anybody help me? L plus R by 2 को आप pivot लोगे, so but you are getting the logic that I have written, right? That assumes ARR of L is the pivot, right? But if I want to take a random element, let me tell you what do we do, right? It's pretty simple. What do I do is I generate a random index between L and R, okay? So you can use a math.random function or any function, you can Google this up, right? So you generate a random index between L and R, a random number between L and R. And let's say you get that, boss, this is your random number, okay? Then you know what I will do? मेरे को इसको pivot choose करना है, right? I want to choose this random number as the pivot. But I only know the logic for ARR of L as the pivot. So what will I do? I will simply swap ARR of L with ARR of R or the random index, sorry. Random, okay? ARR of random. So now what will happen? The random element that you selected, that is now at index number L. That is now at index number L. And now you can have your same logic of choosing the number at ARR of L as the pivot. Okay. Is this making sense, guys? That's the analysis that I wanted to do basically. Is it making sense? All these merge and quicksort, why don't we use that? You will understand, right? The run times. Look at the run times. For bubble insertion, it's n square, right? Merge is n log n. So obviously time complexity wise, it's better, right? Okay. So one last thing. Do you think quicksort is adaptive? Do you think quicksort is adaptive? Quick question. No, it's not. No, it's not, right? Everything here is highly dependent on what you choose as the pivot. And I gave you an example where If I always choose ARR of L as the pivot now, then for a sorted array, it is giving you n square runtime. Okay. You cannot always, it's not n square, but worst case, it's n square. Okay. Random element 1 क्यों नहीं लिए? Because I got the thought that let's take 2 randomly. Random है ना? मेरे brain में जो randomly आया उस समय मैंने pick कर लिया. It's nothing like that, right? I am not biased towards anyone. Okay. I just take a random element. Okay. What is adaptive? Okay. So I am not expecting this question such late. Okay. Read this up on your own. Please try to read this up. We have already covered this topic, and I think there should be some decorum that we should maintain, right? Okay. So definitely it's not adaptive. It's not at all adaptive because it depends on your pivot element or the element that you are choosing as the pivot. And we just now saw that for a sorted array, you might get n square if you choose your pivots badly or if you choose your pivots in a increasing order. Okay. So it's not adaptive. And is it stable? I will only ask you the question. Is it stable? What do you think? I am not very comfortable with saying it as stable, right? Either random jab swapping hota hai na, this swapping thing that happens na, that disturbs the stability. That disturbs the stability. Okay. It's not stable, right? You can take examples. Let me try to come up with an example. Let's say you have 8 here, you have 8 star here. Okay. And let's say I choose the pivot as element that is, wait, I'm okay, guys. Let's take this example, right? Let's take this example. So let's say my pivot is 10. So till when do I move I? Till I get an element greater than pivot, I will stop here. Till when do I move J back? Till I get an element less than equal to pivot. J comes here. Now what do? You do a swapping. So क्या होगा? When you swap 12 and 8, what will happen? The relative ordering of the two 8s will get disturbed. So definitely quick sort is not stable. Okay. This topic is not there in the test, but I think for completion, I wanted to discuss this. Okay. So quick sort, what we have discussed, not adaptive, not, not stable. And the runtime is highly dependent on what element you choose as the pivot. If you choose the elements in ascending order or descending order, then you will get a worst case runtime of big O of n square. Okay. But if you choose your elements in such a way that partition happens in the middle, then it's the best case of n log n. And if you choose pivot elements randomly, then it is basically n log n in the average case. Okay. And good question. What does arrays.sort use? Okay. So arrays.sort basically uses a hybrid kind of an algorithm. Okay. But the Java users have guaranteed you that arrays.sort will give you the sorting in n log n time. Okay. Quicksort is not coming. Okay. It will guarantee you that its arrays.sort is n log n time. Okay. So if you are more curious, okay, I can Google it up. Arrays.sort in Java uses which algorithm? कौन सा sort use करता है? आएगा ही मन में सबके. Let's look at it. It doesn't use any of the standard algorithms that we have studied so far, right? As mentioned in the official Java doc, arrays.sort uses dual pivot quicksort on primitives, and it uses a kind of a TIM sort, a different sorting on objects. But you know what is dual pivot quicksort? It offers a big O of n log n performance and is typically faster than traditional, that is one pivot quicksort implementation. We don't have to worry about all these things, right? Arrays.sort uses some kind of a hybrid algorithm, okay? And it offers you the runtime of n log n. So whenever you use arrays.sort, just know that it is offering you a big O of n log n time for sorting. Okay? Okay, guys, let's see how many folks are clear. Then we will move on to the questions. Why do we learn merge and quicksort if you have arrays? Again, you will get a question, right? That, for questions, certain questions, na, you want to do the merging on your own. बाद में आएगा ये question एक. अभी I'll not introduce you guys to that question. That's count inversions, right? It's too early at this point of time. But anyways, yeah, you are good question. कि अगर सब कुछ arrays.sort is n log n, why do you want to do it? Because, in certain problems, you might want to implement it yourself. Okay, it will give you some advantage. Okay, so let's take a quick poll with how many folks are clear here, and then we can move on to problem solving, which will be relevant to your test, right? Yes, guys, can you just quickly cast a vote? How log n time complexity? N log n, not log n, n log n. Okay. We have 75-25 split. Okay, cool guys. So I'll not spend more time on this, right? You can try to first of all look at this yourselves, right? I'll share some videos also with you which you can refer. After this, if you have doubt, you can definitely approach me after the test or we can have a discussion, right? Because I think it's more important that now let's focus on the test aspect of things. Okay. Yeah, sorting is included. Okay. Okay. I'm ending the poll. Okay, folks who are clear, if somebody is interested, right, just try to explain yourselves. Okay. And yeah. One question example from hard category. Okay. I think I got this info that questions are added. So I had a look also. So quick sort is difficult for sure. Yes. Okay. Okay, guys. So I think we have questions added up on the portal already, right? So, let's have a look, right? I think all of you guys have access to these 3 questions. The 3 questions that are added today. Can everyone see those 3 questions? Yes. Okay. So if somebody would have asked me to label, okay, if somebody would have asked me to label out of these 3 questions, we will start with the easy question, which I think is the easy question. Done all. Badhiya, badhiya. Okay. So let us, palindromic substring is also there in syllabus. Yaar, matlab, this is a question, right? I can't say if it is in syllabus or not. The questions and logics that you have done, definitely. Okay. So let's have a look at this question, right? We're starting with the easy question. Okay, we're starting with the easy question. Okay. So let's try to do a reading. And I have already, written the main part for you. Also, we won't be focusing at this part, right? The interesting part for us for focusing will be this part. Okay, the function part that we have to write. So let's have a read at the question. And guys, I will appreciate if you guys can also start coding parallelly. Okay, or alongside with me after you are clear with the logic. So let's say what is the problem statement. Given a string n, given a string of n characters and a character c. So you are given a string and a character. Find the position of that character in the string. So you just have to search for that character in the string. If there are multiple occurrences, return the first occurrence from the left. So you need to return the first occurrence of that character in the string from the left side. Okay. And you have to assume that the string is 1 based indexing and you need to return the index of the position of the matching character. And if the character is not present, I will be returning a -1. Okay. Let's take an input-output example. See, this is not valid for us, right? Because we don't have to take inputs. So I will reframe the question for you all. So basically, you have access to a string, given a string S and a character C. Find the occurrence of the character C in S. If the character doesn't occur, you will return -1. And if the character occurs, I want to give you the, I want you to give me the first occurrence of this character. At what position the first occurrence of this character is observed. Okay. And when you return to me the position, it should be a 1 based position. Okay. So let's take an example. I think this is a very simple question. All of you should be able to do it, right? I will expect all of you to come up with this solution of this question on your own, right? So let's take an example. Let's say the sample input is this. This is my string, right? DHWE. Okay. And the character is W. So what I will do, I have to search for this character in the string, first occurrence of W in DHWE, and first occurrence from the left-hand side. So I will start searching and you see you get the occurrence of W here. What is this index, guys? This is index number 2. Okay. So you will be returning 3 because what it is telling, consider it to be 1 based indexing. Okay. So this is position 1, this is position 2, this is position 3. So see, the position of the W will be 3. So you will be returning 3. Okay. Let me first check on folks. How many of you are clear with the question? I think question to abhi sabko clear hona chahiye. Kafi simple question hai, to be honest, right? Okay. Everyone understands the question? Yes. This is of the easy category, right? Easy category. Simple basic loop. Okay. Simple category, right? Can you guys code it up? I will give you 3 minutes, 4 minutes time. Okay. Can you code it up? Can you code it up? Yes. Okay. I'll give you 3 minutes time, right? Please try to write a code and please try to write a function. Okay. I am giving you this code. You don't have to worry about this thing. Okay. Write it here. I am pasting the code, right? थोड़ा समय बचाने के लिए. You can paste this in your main method. Okay. I will stop the chats for the time being. This question was added today itself, right? Okay. So just paste this code in the main method. You don't have to worry about the main method, right? So you can paste this code in the main method. Okay. And this is the function definition. This is the function definition. Okay. This is the function definition. Okay. So let's get started, right? I think I'll start. It's a pretty simple question. So what I will do, guys, I will simply, let's write a loop, right? So I will start searching for character C in S. And from where I will start searching from the starting, from the left-hand side. So I will write a loop. For int I equal to 0, I less than. What is the end? What is the length of the string? S dot length. And again, I am telling you guys, when you check the length of the string, you will have to put these brackets, right? Because length is a function. Length is a function associated with a string. And whenever you call functions, you have to write parentheses, right? We have seen this earlier. Okay. So I equal to 0, I less than s dot length, I plus plus. So I will iterate over the entire string. Okay. Now you are at index number I. So you will check if I just do a basic checking, right? So let's increase the font size. If s dot char at, I observe the character at the ith index. If s dot char at I equal to C, okay? If the current character that I am standing on that matches with the character that I had to search for, can anybody tell me what should I simply do here? One line of code. I'll ask you guys. What should I return here? मेरे को और कुछ करना ही नहीं. I have got the first occurrence. What do I return? What do I return? I plus 1. Correct, guys. Correct. Return I plus 1. Why I plus 1? Because I have to return it in one-based indexing format. Okay. Question link. It's added on the portal today, right? Acha, Sunil, why will I do a break? It's a function, right? Not required to do a break. If you write a return I plus 1, automatically your function will terminate. Okay. C should be in a single quote. Why? It's a variable, right? Have you ever written variables in single quotes? For sure not, right? So now, if you come, see if the character is present, you will return from here and your job is done. If I come outside the for loop, what does it mean, guys? Can you help me? If you come outside the for loop successfully, what does it mean? That the character is not present in the string. So I will simply return a -1. That's it. That's it, right? If length is a function of array, length is not a function for an array, Chirag. It's an attribute. Okay. Fine. सही है? हाँ, actually इसमें n का कोई काम नहीं है. That is why I took the input, but I didn't pass it. Okay. So I don't think n is really required here. Okay. ठीक है. See, this is just a way of taking a character as input, right? You read, see, whatever is written in the terminal, right? You read it via a string and then you extract the character at the 0th index. So you are reading a character. Okay. Okay. Is it not or not? S dot index of C plus 1. Okay, we'll try it, right? Index of should give us the first occurrence. No, it will fail in one case, right, Dinesh? Dharmendra, try to think. मैं करता हूँ, ठीक है? पहले इसको run करते हैं. Is everyone clear with this code? First, let's try to run it and see what happens. I'll just submit it directly. Too lazy to do a run. Let us try what happened. Yeah. So all the test cases passed, right? So this is fine. This is fine. Acha. Now, can anybody, first of all, let's see how many folks understand this question, right? A quick poll, folks. How many of you are clear with this, right? And it's high time that you should be clear with this, right? I am pretty much optimistic that folks should be clear. Abhi agar isme nahi clear hai, to it's high time you will be spending time on what we are doing, right? Isme there should be no scope of not clarity. Okay. Very simple, guys. You have to just search for the first occurrence of a character in the string. Okay. So the 13% of the folks who are in the almost there and no category, right? Please pay special attention. Because, here almost there is also not a very good thing, right? बहुत simple है. We have already done this question beforehand, if you remember, right? We have searched for the first occurrence of a character. तो अभी तो आप लोग को मेरे को ये बोलना चाहिए था, hey Adarsh, this is a repeat question and we already know how to do this. We are clear, right? So the 14% of the people, right? A concerning number, to be very honest. Please pay attention and try to get clear with the here things, right? So I am not very happy that you say here you're not clear, right? But anyways, okay, cool. अच्छा, कोई अब मेरे को ये बताएगा, आई विल स्टॉप द पोल. Okay. So guys, please, those of you are not clear, this is an easy question, right? ये इसी level का question you can expect in the test for an easy thing. Line number 13 explain. First of all, you won't be needing line number 13. आपको test में ये दिखेगा ही नहीं. See, in the test, you will be just seeing this part. You will be just seeing this part. Implement this function and you just have to write this logic. So forget line number 13. Are you clear with this thing? You just have to write this function in the exam, right? You don't have to take inputs, right? Why? And if I don't write n, what happens? देखो guys, मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ, यहाँ पे दिया हुआ था कि input में n है, so that is why I took input, right? But try to understand, in the test, you won't be seeing the main method. In the test, you will see something like this. See, you will see, कि boss, given a string s and a char c, search for the first occurrence of C in character S. If it is present, return the first occurrence index, right position. Otherwise, return a -1. You just have to write this function. इतना सही पता होगा आपको exam में, right? So this is the code for that. Okay. So anybody, and see, I will just tell line number 13 for the sake of clarity of everyone. So basically, you want to take an input of character from the terminal, right? From the keyboard. So I say, what does sc.next do? sc.next will read a string, right? So I am expecting a character, right? So I read the character as a string. And then what do I do? String read kar liya. Then I say dot char at 0. So I extract the character at the 0th index of the string. So that character will be stored in this variable C. Okay? That's it. Read a string and extract the character. If I want to take a character as input, now this is what we do. Read a string and then extract the character at the 0th position. That's it. But in the test, you will just have access to this part. You won't be seeing the main method, right? So this is the logic that we have written. Is everyone clear with this? Can we move ahead? Very basic, very simple question. I want to move ahead actually. Are you folks clear with this? काफी simple question है. क्या question आया है? Line number 20. What is line number 20? Boss, अभी आप लोग इस पे क्यों confuse हो रहे हैं? I'm very give me 1 second. Let me just come to the questions, right? I think we should answer them. 1 minute, huh? Can I use s.char? Is it right or not? What is s.char? What is s.char? S.char hota hai, okay? You can't just change the name of the functions, right? जो inbuilt functions hai, why do you want to change them? How to take n number of strings? Please don't focus on those things, right? Try to focus on the concepts that we are trying to do at this point of time, okay? और क्या question है? Sir, why we are not using break? Already covered this concept for functions, right? Ki boss, when you are doing functions, see, what do you want to do? When you find the occurrence of C, when you find this character C, you just want to terminate. Now you want to give the answer. So just simply do a return. Now that will terminate the function. Why do you want to do a break? आप break करके आओगे, then you will have to handle the case separately. So I see that if there is a match, simply return I+1. You won't even come outside the loop. So when you are coming outside the loop, you know that the character is not there, so you return a -1. अगर तुम यहाँ पे break करते, if you would have done break here ना, then you would have to handle the condition here. कि boss, are you coming out via break or are you terminating it naturally? So you will need a flag then. ठीक है? So that is why I'm doing a return I+1 to make things simpler. ठीक है? और क्या questions है? This one. Why do you want to use the index method, right? It's a very basic traversal method which you can try, right? Index से भी कर सकते हो, try करो, ठीक है? Index of you can use, right? If the element is not present, it will return you a -1, so you return it as it is. If the element is present, it will give you the index of first occurrence, add 1 to that, return that as the answer, okay? I+1 क्यों? Because we have to return the answer as 1 based indexing, okay? Cool. I think we have answered all the questions, ठीक है? So let me move forward. And for folks who don't know where this question is, you can come to the modules part. This is the easy level question, right? ये अगर मुझे इन तीनों में से group करना होगा, I will say this is easy. Okay. So DSA problem solving, you can come here. It's uploaded. Okay. And this is the easy question, right? Now let's come to the second question, right? Which is in the medium label, right? In the medium label. So I will say it's a transpose matrix, right? And I am pretty sure that, you know, most of the folks should have already solved this question beforehand. See, the class today is just to give you an idea of what kind of questions you can expect or what is the level of questions that you can expect, right? So this is the second question, that given a matrix, you have to return the transpose of A. So let me do the hard work for you. You won't have access to main, right? Forget about this main method, right? Let's have a look at only the function. Okay. Main वाला काम मैं करूंगा, वो आप लोग अभी ध्यान मत दो, ठीक है? So we have to write a function. I say, hey, you have to write a function, and this also will be written to you. The definition, the argument, the return type, everything will be provided to you. Okay. So let's say you are returning and a matrix. Okay. Then okay, I think we have this question on lead code also, to be very honest. उधर ही कर लेते हैं ना. I think that will be better. उधर करेंगे ना तो ज्यादा सही रहेगा. Pose of a matrix, lead codes. If I remember correctly, there's this question. Yes, it is. देख लेते हैं. Okay, let's change the language. We need a Java. Okay, so this is how you will get, right? Ki, boss, you are given a 2D integer array and you have to, transpose. You have to get the transpose of the matrix. Okay? You have to get the transpose of the matrix. Okay. Can anybody help me? Can anybody help me? How do I see? You have a 2D array matrix. मेरे पास है इस matrix का access, and you have to return the reference of the 2D matrix after finding the transpose. ठीक है? Print नहीं करना है. You have to just return the reference of the matrix, which will be the transpose of the original matrix that you get. ठीक है? बताओ guys, can you help me? Very simple. This is like a medium level, I would say. Anybody? Can you help me? What should I do? Upper triangle swap with lower triangle. Okay, good question. Swap J and I. Good question. Take nested loops. ठीक है. So let me go through the ideas, right? Let me go through the idea. Okay. It's very basic. Let's go through the idea. Okay. So what is the transpose, right? See, there are two kinds of conditions that actually come, right? Either you take the transpose of a square matrix, or you take the transpose of any general matrix, right? And here it is not telling me that it is a square matrix, right? M and N can be different. It is not telling that the number of rows and columns are the same, right? So let's do it for a very generic case. I'll add some more slides here. We'll need them. 1 second. This is also again a done problem that you have already done. Okay. मुझे नहीं पता कितने लोग को आता है नहीं आता है, but yeah, you should be able to solve these problems now. Okay. So transpose of a matrix, right? Let's take a very, very generic case, right? So let's say 1, 3, 5, 7, 2, 4, 5, 8. I'm taking a rectangular matrix, right? An M cross N matrix, and not a square matrix to generalize things, right? So this is a matrix that you have, right? This is a 3 cross 4 matrix, and you have to get the transpose of this matrix. So what do I say, boss? What is the transpose? That every row will become a column. Okay. The rows and the columns get interchanged. So basically the first row, how does your transpose look like? The first row that is there in the matrix, in the original matrix, that will appear as the first column. The second row will appear as the second column. The third row will appear as the third column. And this is the transpose of the matrix. This is a 4 cross 3 matrix. So I think all of us have studied in maths that if you have an M cross N original matrix, the transpose will be an N cross M matrix. Do you agree? And all the rows go into columns and columns go into rows. Does it make sense? If you have an M cross N matrix, the transpose will be N cross M. Check karke dekho, right? You can verify this fact, right? And the general relation is that, boss, whatever element is occurring at I, j, that will now occur at j, I. Okay. So whatever element is at I, j, that will occur at index number j, I in the transposed matrix. So what do I do? Let us take the idea, right? Okay. So let's say this is the matrix. This is the matrix. Okay. Now what do I first of all do? So this is an M cross N matrix. So first of all, how to return answer in function? Is it necessary to write? Yes, it's necessary that you have to use everything function based, right? Everything function based. We will do ना. अभी solve करूँगा वापस से तो और समझ में आएगा. Okay. Return कर देंगे बस SOP. No. See, that is where you are missing out. Harsh, try to understand. Function का return type ये है. You are asked to return the reference of a matrix. तो जो भी मैट्रिक्स आप बनाओगे ना, I need a reference to this, not the printing out. If you do a printing out, your test cases will fail. वही तो मैं बोल रहा हूँ. You don't have to print. You have to return what is the function asking you to return, right? So let us try to understand how we do this, right? So first of all, what do? I see that boss, the original matrix is 3 cross 4. So I make a new matrix. 4 cross 3. I make a new matrix of size n cross m. Okay. And it will be all zeros. Okay. Okay. I have made a new matrix. Okay. Dummy array में put करके return करा देंगे. See, I'll try to tell you what we do, right? Okay. So I have first of all made a new matrix which is of the size n cross m. And I will say this will be storing the transpose of the original matrix. Now what do? Try to understand. I just iterate over the matrix. Okay. So first of all, this is in 0, 1, 2, 3. This is 0, 1, 2. Okay. So first of all, I am at index 0, 0. So what element should come here? See, I can tell you, let's say, let me call it as mat2. And let us say this is mat1. So can I say, boss, mat2 of ij is nothing but mat1 of ji? सोच के बताओ. That is what I am doing, right? The boss, try to understand. This is 0, 0. So what element should come here? The element which is there at 0, 0 of the original array. So write a 1 here. Then I move forward. Now I am standing at 0, 1. What element should come here? The element which is present at index 1, 0 of my original matrix. That will come at 0, 1 of the transpose matrix. So I go to, see, I is 0, j is 1. So I go to ji, that is 1, 0 of my original, matrix. So what is index? This is 1 and this is 0. So 2. So I take this 2, I write it here. See? Yes? Now see what is happening, right? Then I move forward. I am at index number 0, 2. So what element should come at index number 0, 2 of the transpose matrix? The element which is coming at index number 2, 0 of my original matrix. So I will go here, take the element 1, write it here. Now see, the first row of the transpose matrix has been done. And if you see very carefully, the first column elements have now appeared as the first row. And this is what was happening, right? The rows becomes columns and the columns become row. That is what has happened. Now I move forward, right? Now I'm standing at index number 1, 0. So what will the element coming here? Go to index number 0, 1 of your original matrix. So this is index 0, this is index 1, right? So this is 0, 1. Take this 3, write it here. Okay. Then I move forward. 1, 1. What is the element that should be coming here? Go to 1, 1 of your original array. So what is 1, 1? This. Okay. So you will write here. Then you move forward. Now you are standing at index 1, 2. What should be the element coming here? The element that is present at index 2, 1 of my original array, that will come here. Okay. So go to index 2, 1, which is nothing but this. Take this element, put it here. See, the second row has been prepared, which is nothing but the second column. So likewise, you will iterate over the new matrix and you will fill all the contents in this manner. So you will see that after iterating through this matrix and writing this relation, you will get the transpose of mat1 in mat2. Now, what do I need to return? I have this matrix prepared, right, which is the transpose. So I will just return the reference of this matrix. And what is the reference? Just return mat2. Mat2 is the reference, right? Return that, job done, right? Is this logic making sense? First, let us try to understand. Is this logic making sense to everyone? Simple air transpose. So, okay. Now, can we write into ji? Okay. And one other thing, right? Somebody was telling me do a swapping of upper triangle with lower triangle. Can you do it in a rectangular array? My question is that. Somebody was telling us swap the upper triangle with lower triangle. So you cannot do that in case of a rectangular, right? Rectangular array में ऐसे नहीं कर पाओगे. Okay. So I will tell that logic also once so that, boss, Karthik, it's very simple, right? what I am trying to tell, let's say you have a very basic array, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is your matrix, right? Now, what I am saying, every row will become a column and the columns will become row. Okay. So see, this is a 2 cross 4 matrix. So the transpose will be 4 cross 2. So I will first of all make a 4 cross 2 matrix. Okay, 4 cross 2 matrix. अब मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ? See what I am doing. I am iterating over this matrix, right? And what I am telling, see guys, the element which is present here, let's say I am at index number I comma j. Let's say you are standing at index I comma j of your new matrix. So what element will come at index I comma j? The element which is present at index j comma I in the original array. क्योंकि वही होगा ना boss, the element which is present at j comma I in the original array, when you transpose it, it will make its way to I comma j in the transpose array. So we just iterate through this array and we say mat2 of ij, mat2 of ij is equal to mat1 of ji. That's it. You do this logic, your job is done. Afterwards, you can return the reference of your matrix. Okay. Now, what I'm telling is, some people were telling me upper triangular, lower triangular. You are correct, right? But that is applicable only for square matrices, right? So here, if I ask you, what is the time and space complexity of this approach that I just discussed? Can anybody help me? What is the time and space complexity of this approach? Big O of Mn, big O of Mn. Do you agree? M into N, both time and space are both Mn, Mn. Okay. But now, अगर मेरे को ये बोलता ना कि boss, the array that you are, the matrix that you are getting is a square matrix. If somebody told you that the matrix that you are getting is a square matrix, now this method to will work, no problem, right? But in case of a square matrix, you also have a better way. Right? And that is where most of the folks were telling me, right? What happens is, see, this is the principal diagonal, okay? And the part, this part, right? This part, I say this is the upper triangular part. Okay, upper triangular part, and this is the lower triangular part of the matrix. Okay, so how is the upper triangular part characterized? See, on the main diagonal, and this is only true for square matrices, right? So on the main diagonal, we have I equal to j. I am pretty sure all of you know this, right? For the main diagonal, the characteristic is I equal to j. So can you tell me what is the characteristic for the upper triangular region? देखो ना, यहाँ पे I 0 है, J 0 है, इधर I is 0, J is 1. So can I say this upper triangular region, take any element, you will see that J is greater than I. This is the characteristic. And for the lower triangular, the characteristic is I is less than J. I is less than J. In general, pick any element. I pick 8. Pick 8. What is the index of 8? The row number is 2 and the column number is 1. See? Oh, sorry. Did I do something wrong? Wait. J greater than I है, यहाँ पे उल्टा होगा ना, so there is I less than J, yes. Here you will get that I is greater than J. Sorry, my bad, right? So I greater than J is characteristic of the lower triangular region. Now, what do I tell you? See, you can use an extra matrix and do the transpose, right? But if you have a square matrix now, then you can obtain the transpose in constant space, right? You don't even have to create a new matrix. How? Now, what do I tell you, boss? When you take a transpose, what is ideally happening? Let us look at the transpose, right? 1, 2, 3, it will become the first column. 4, 5, 6 will become the second column. And 3, 6, 9, 7, 8, 9 will become the third column. This is how the transpose looks like. And look very carefully. This is 1, 5, 9. So the diagonal elements are not at all disturbed, right? Taking transpose in a square matrix is nothing but you are obtaining a mirror image. ऐसा सोचो ये mirror है, right? So what is happening? See, this 2 and 4 will swap. This 2 and 4 interchange. देख लो, 2 इधर था, 4 इधर था. अब 4 has occupied the position of 2 and 2 has occupied the position where 4 was occurring. Then this 8 and this 6 get swapped. Okay, ये दोनों change कर रहे हैं. And this 7 and this 3 swap with each other. This is what is happening in the transpose, ideally. So what can I do? Are you getting this part of the logic? For a square matrix, what I'm trying to say, it is just taking a mirror image around the principal axis or the main diagonal, right? So now what I will tell you, I can do something like this. Let's say, let us just write it. कि मैं इधर हूँ, ठीक है? I am in the first row, right? So what I will do, I will have a condition like this, that for I equal to 0, I will go to every row, right? And for every row, I will start J from I plus 1. Okay. So let's say you are at row number 0. So you will start J from here, right? You will start J from here. Okay. You are at I equal to 0. That is row number 0. So you start J from index number 1. So what I will do? you will swap 0, 1 with 1, 0. So I swap ARR of IJ with ARR of, or sorry, mat of IJ with mat of JI. So I will do a swapping of this 2 and this 4. ठीक है, अब मैं क्या करूंगा, move J forward. I will swap this 3. देख लो, this is index 0, index 2 with 2, 0, which is this 7. Do a swapping. 7 comes here and 3 goes here. ठीक है. Now I will go to row number 1. Now for row number 1, I know that the upper triangular region starts from here. So I will start from index number I plus 1. Okay, so I is 1. So what is index number I plus 1? It is 2. So I come here, okay? And this 6 will be swapped with this 8. Job done, right? Now when you come to I equal to 2, what will be I plus 1? 3. And is there an index 3 in the column? No. So job done. So मैं कुछ नहीं कर रहा हूँ, guys. The basic idea here is for every row that you come at, you will just iterate in the upper triangular region. आप सिर्फ upper triangular region पे iterate करोगे and you will swap ARR of IJ with ARR of JI or mat of IJ with mat of JI. Okay. So when I equal to 0, your J should start at index number 1. इधर आएगा, I swap mat of IJ with mat of JI. These two get swapped, right? So 2 comes here, 4 goes here. Then J moves forward. Okay. Now I swap this 3 with this 7. 7 comes here, 3 goes here. Okay. Now I will move I forward, I equal to 1. So for this row, where is the upper triangular matrix starting from? Upper triangular region. J equal to I plus 1. So J will start from here. I swap this 6 with this 8. Okay. 6 comes here, 8 goes here. और कहीं तो J जाएगा नहीं. Come to I equal to 2. For I equal to 2, see, in the last row, you don't have an upper triangular region, right? So you will start J from I plus 1 and J will be at index 3 and 3 is outside the, matrix. So you will not do anything. So you will see it is 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8, 7, 6, 9. Okay. If we have, I think we have missed out 3, 6, 9. Now it's looking fine, right? Is it making sense, guys? So if you have a square matrix, you can do it in extra space also, or you can do it in constant space also. But if it is a rectangular matrix, you will have to consume extra space, right? Because this logic won't work for a rectangular matrix. Okay. Now let's quickly solve the question. We'll be coding for rectangular only, right? Let's quickly code it up. Simple है code एकदम. Let's go to lead code, right? So in lead code, if you look here, right, it is not telling that M is equal to n. देखो, you are given a 2D matrix of size M cross N. ठीक है? देखो यहाँ क्या लिखा हुआ है. M equal to matrix dot length, N is this thing, and M and N are not told to be equal. मेरे को तो ऐसा कहीं hint नहीं दिख रहा है कि M and N are same, right? I don't see it. Okay. So let us make a new array only. Okay. So what will I do? See, I don't have to take inputs and anything, right? You already have a matrix and you just have to return the reference of the matrix after finding the transpose. So what do I do? Let us first understand how many rows are there. Int M is equal to. How do I find the number of rows, guys? Can anybody help me? What is the expression that helps me to find the number of rows of this matrix? सब बताया हुआ है सब 2D arrays में. Matrix dot length, right? Matrix dot length, this will give me the number of rows. And how do I get the number of columns? I am considering it's not a jagged thing, right? So I can say that number of columns is matrix of 0 dot length. Okay? हो गया? That's fine. Acha. Now what do I do? Let us make a new matrix, right? And let us call this as transpose. Transpose is equal to new int. What will be the dimensions? It should be an n cross m matrix. So right here n, right here m. N cross m बना दिया. Now what am I doing? I am just iterating over this new transpose. For int I equal to 0, I less than I कहाँ तक जाएगा? There are n rows, right? So I less than n, I plus plus. So I'm iterating over the rows. And for every row, you will iterate over all the columns. Okay. So for int j equal to 0, j less than m, j plus plus, right? I am iterating through the transpose matrix, okay, which I have created. And what will I do? Transpose of ij. Transpose of ij. What is the element that should come at index I comma j of the transpose matrix? The element that is present at index number j comma I. Okay, row number j and column number I of my original matrix. So transpose of ij is nothing but matrix of ji. ठीक है? Job done. After this for loop is completed, you have the transpose present in this transpose matrix. So what you will return? Simply return the reference of this transpose, right? Which is nothing but the name, return transpose. Job done. Let us try to run it and see. Compile error. Okay, we forgot the spelling. Galti ho gaya. Let's again try to run. Okay, it's accepted. Acha guys, one very quick debugging thing, right? If your code is not working fine, ठीक है, और तुमको debug करना है क्या हो रहा है, you can still use system.out.print, right? You can still use system.out.println to understand what is happening in the code. Let's say मेरे को पता करना है कि मेरा कोड लाइन नंबर 5-6 तक पहुंच रहा है, तो what I can do, system.out.println hello, just to understand if it is reaching here or not, right? This you can always do, but in the final code, try to remove all of these things, right? So if you try to run a code now, you will see that hello is printed and there will be a new box opening up for standard output. See, standard output mein hello aa raha hai, but the function is basically returning this transpose only. Okay. Oh, I can remove this information, not needed. Let us try to submit the code. Okay, so that's done, right? That's done. So this was the basic idea, ठीक है? और इसको एक बार check कर लेते हैं. See, the way to do this will be, you can come to the discuss question, discuss section, and see guys, now see, that is the beauty of lead code that I was telling, right? यहाँ पे अगर आप, let's go to this. Lee is like a legend of lead code almost, right? So if you look at the Java code, he will show you the code, right? कि ऐसे हम लोग किया, and that is the same thing that we have done, right? Basically हम लोग उल्टा किए. What we have done? We have iterated over the transpose matrix. What he has done reverse, right? He is iterating over the, the basic matrix, and then he is filling it differently. So there can be different ways of doing the same question, right? And see, if you look at this post, right? Interview follow-up square matrix. कि पहले interviewer ने बोला कि boss, it is, a rectangular matrix, then you have to use up extra space. But a potential follow-up question in the interview can be, what if you are given an n cross n matrix? Then can you find the transpose in place? And what is the meaning of in place? You don't have to take up any extra space. तो यहाँ पे भी पूरा explain किया हुआ है कि how can you, देखो, ठीक है? See, that is what we have done, right? See, look at this solution. That is what we have done, right? Transpose निकाले, iterate through the transpose matrix and write transpose of ij equal to matrix of ji and return that. And now for square matrix, he has actually written code as a follow-up. Okay, देखो, for int I equal to 0, I less than n, for int j equal to I plus 1, right? Because the idea of the upper triangular region is j will be greater than I. So I will be starting j from greater than I, and then you will be swapping ARR of ij or matrix of ij with matrix of ji, and then you return matrix. That's it, right? So this is the general way in which you solve problems on lead code. Okay, so let's quickly solve it on the portal as well, and then I will open up if anyone has any doubts. Okay. So I'll quickly solve it here as well. Copy paste ही कर देते हैं, ठीक है? Control C. Okay. Do a Control V. Just let's write here static. Okay. And that's the code that we have written. And inputs आपको नहीं लेना पड़ेगा, but just to make sure that this is working on the portal as well, I will take the input. So let's make a scanner. You don't have to do all this, right? New scanner system.in. Okay. What I will do, int m is my first thing, sc dot next int. Okay. Then int n is equal to sc dot next int. Okay. Next, what do I do? Let us make a matrix. Int mat is equal to new int. Okay, m cross n. Then you have to take inputs, right? So for int I is equal to 0, I less than m, I plus plus. Just run a loop and take inputs. For int j equal to 0, j less than n, j plus plus. Just take it. Ki mat of क्या बोलते हैं? Mat of ij. You take it inputs. Okay. See, all these code will be written up for you, right? You will not even be seeing these part, right? You will just be interested in this part. Okay. So ये हो गया. And after taking inputs, I will just call my transpose function. Okay. Let's say Now see, the transpose function will be returning the reference to a matrix, right? So I'm catching it in this variable in bracket open bracket trans. So I'll just call the transpose method, pass it mat. Ho gaya? Okay. It will give me the transpose, and then what I will do here, I'll just print it out once again. So for int I is equal to 0, I less than n rows will be there in the transpose, I know. And for int j equal to 0, j less than m, j plus plus, what do I print? I will be printing system.out.print trans of ij, okay, and put a space after this if you want to print proper matrices, right? And once you have printed a particular row, you can do a system.out.println. ये सब अपने लोग को नहीं करना होगा, right? You will just be interested in this part, right? The function part, right? But let us try to run it and see if it's working fine. Console. Let's see. 147, 258, 369 looks good. Let's submit it. Okay, so all the test cases passed, right? So this is fine, right? This is fine. Now tell me, guys, how many of you are clear with the concept? I'm launching a poll. Let me know how many of you are clear with the concept of taking a transpose of a matrix. If it is a general rectangular matrix, how many of you are clear? If it is a square matrix, how many of you are clear? The overall general idea. Okay, cool. So we have good people, good percentage who are clear, right? It's 85-15 if I count it that way. Cool. So only 4% folks are not clear, right? So please have a look, right? Almost there is also good. You can do a dry run yourselves, okay? And you can get an idea. But the 5% folks who are not clear, right? Please try to, see where you can improve and what you can do, right? Because this is like a medium question if I tell you from the test perspective. Okay. So let's end the poll. Okay. So can we move on to the hard question, guys? Hard question in terms of test. From the perspective of the test, right? Let's line number 19. No, line number 19 is nothing. You are calling the transpose function, right? It will give you the transpose matrix and you capture that reference in a variable in trans. Line number 30, only line number 30. Let me quickly tell you line number 30. What is line number 30? Full screen. Just give me 1 second. Yeah. Line number 29 and 30. What is 29 and 30 is nothing, boss. This is basic, right? You have to tell me the number of rows and number of columns, right? So I have found the number of rows and columns of the matrix by doing a matrix.length. This will give me the number of rows, and matrix 0.length will give me the number of columns. Okay. Why matrix of 0? Okay, I'm getting. See, what is a matrix? Let me just make it clear. What is a matrix? It is an array of arrays, right? If you look very carefully, if I give you a matrix like this, right? So you can consider this matrix to be a array of one-dimensional arrays. Aisa kuch. See, you can try to, think of it like this. This is an array of multiple 1D arrays. Dekho, this is the first row, this is the second row. So how, see, this is an array, right? And this is a one-dimensional array of multiple arrays. So how many rows are there? The number of rows in this matrix is the number of elements or the number of 1D arrays that you have inside this array. Dekho. So what is it? It is matrix.length only, na? Huh? Is it making sense what I'm trying to say? Dekho, guys, if you have an integer array, if you have an array of integers, right? When you do arr.length, it tells you how many integers are there. So this is an array of one-dimensional arrays. So if I do matrix.length, it will tell me how many one-dimensional arrays are there. There are 2 one-dimensional arrays, okay? And the number of one-dimensional arrays is nothing but the number of rows. And how many columns are there? The number of entries that you have in a particular array. So matrix of 0 will give you this 1D array. And when you do matrix of 0.length, you will tell me how many elements are there in the first row. और वही element होगा ना, हर row में उतने elements होंगे. Okay. Jyotirmay will take that later maybe. Okay. I think today we'll do what all is uploaded. That is why I less than n. Because boss, what is this new matrix? n rows है ना यहाँ पे, n rows है. See, there are n rows in the transpose matrix. So if you do I less than m, then you will hit an error. There are n rows and m columns. Okay, cool guys. I think I'll move further. Let's go to the hard question, right? That's the, or usme I will ask you guys for inputs, right? You will try to solve that question. Where is that question? अरे आ गया, मैंने लिखा था. हाँ ठीक है. So let's read the question first, right? Let's read the question. Everybody please read the question on your own, ठीक है? पहले खुद से पढ़ो because I won't be there in the test, right? First please read the question on your own and tell me how many of you understand the question. पहले खुद से question read करो. Please give a reading of the question in your mind. Meaning of transpose is basically the rows becomes column and the column become rows, right? ऐसा समझो मैट्रिक्स को घुमा रहे हो ऐसा कुछ. Okay, not rotating but yeah. Please read this question, right? Okay, so I think everyone must have read the question. So I'll also read this question once, right? There is an ice cream shop near your house. Great. There are n different types of ice creams available in the shop. So you have n different ice creams and you are given the prices of these n different ice creams. ठीक है, आपको पता है there are n different varieties of ice cream and basically you are given the price of all these n different ice creams. Okay, and you have x amount of cash with you. आपके पास x amount of cash है. And you have to determine what is the maximum number of different ice creams that you can buy. Okay, so the question is easy to understand, right? And the area of interest for us will be this. Look from line number 20. Forget about the main method, right? So this is a function. Okay, I'll explain to you the question. This is the function, right? Maximum ice creams. You have been given an array. You have an array which is telling you the prices of the n different ice creams. So this array consists of the prices of all the different ice creams. And you also know how much money you have. So you have an array which is telling you the prices of the different ice creams, and you have an integer which is the amount of money that you have with yourself. And you have to return what is the maximum number of ice creams that you can purchase. Okay, so the return type is an integer. You have to count and say what is the maximum number of ice creams that you can buy. Let me take an example here. There should be an example. Yes. Okay, let's look at the example, right? So what is the first line of input? Let me read. The first line contains n, denotes the different types of ice cream. Okay, let us focus, right? So there are 3 ice creams. देखो example ये है basically. n equal to 3 है ये, अपने को interest का नहीं है ये. Okay, I'll just tell you what you have to see. Let's say if you have been given an array like this, 1, 2, 3. So there are 3 different kinds of ice creams and the cost is 1, 2, and 3. And you have 4 rupees with you. You have 4 rupees with you. You are a person and you are carrying 4 rupees with you. So how many ice creams can you buy? Maximum number of ice creams. See, if I purchase this and this ice cream now, I will be able to consume 2 different ice creams, right? But if you by chance buy this 3, then also you can write 3 and 1 ये भी कर सकते हो, right? So in the maximum case, right, what is the maximum number of ice creams that you can buy with rupees 4? 2 ice creams only, right? You cannot buy all the 3 ice creams together. देखो, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 1, 6, right? So you can buy only 2 ice creams at max, right? Either this 1,3 ice cream or this 1,2 ice cream. Okay. So is the question clear to everyone? What is the question telling? This is like the hard question which you can, expect. Simple, I would say. Okay, I was expecting a little bit more, but okay. Yeah, hard nahi hai, to be very honest. This is simple. Okay. Can you tell me the logic? Can you tell me the logic? No, it's nowhere stated that the prices are sorted or anything like that, right? It's nowhere stated. You just have an array and that array is consisting of the prices of different ice creams. So you can get an array like this also. No issues in there. 8, 5, 2, 1, 10, 15, 7. समझ रहे हो? Random prices. Okay. How to sort in function? Recursively done. I would say don't do it recursively. No point in doing that, right? So can anybody tell me the logic? Dekho, just apply it. It is a very, very practical logic, right? If you want to buy maximum number of ice creams in the money that you have, मान लो you have gone shopping, right? And you have limited amount of money and you have to purchase maximum number of ice creams. What will you do? You will start from the cheapest ice cream, na? You will start from the cheapest one. कि भैया सस्ता सस्ता आइसक्रीम उठाओ. Whatever is the cheapest, buy that. Then you will get the next, next priced ice cream, right? So let's say, if these are the ice creams, right, and you want to buy maximum, then first of all you will pick up the cheapest ice cream, then the second cheapest. मतलब समझ रहे हो? First you will pick up the smallest, valued ice cream, then the second smallest, then the third smallest, like this. Is this logically making sense? Maximize करना है ना आपको आपके count को. If price repeats, no problem, no problem. There can be 2 ice creams with one. They are different ice creams, right? This is chocolate, this is vanilla. I don't care, right? So you first buy this ice cream, then you buy this ice cream. Okay? Okay? So the logic is clear to everyone? Yes, what do you want to do? Can you try to write the code for this yourself? Correct. Can we use negative values in the array? So first of all, Harisha, it is not up to you for getting the values, right? The array is already given to you and it is a price, right? So how can price be negative? Okay. Correct. So let us come to the logic. I am pretty sure. Boiler code send please. चलो लो कर लो यार. ये अपने main method पे कर दो copy. ठीक है. I just tried to make it as close to the test that you will get as possible. This is the main method. And just copy this as the function template. Okay, we'll be writing inside the function, right? So forget about the main method. Let us look here. Okay, so you have an array which is the price of the ice creams and you have the money X, right? And you want to maximize on the number of ice creams. So what do? Let us say int count is equal to, let's say first of all, let me get the length of the array. Okay, and let me make a count variable which will tell me how many ice creams am I able to buy. Okay. Now, what do? I want to maximize the number of ice creams that I can buy, right? So definitely I will start from the smallest, from the cheapest ice cream and try to, buy an increasing order of the prices because I want to maximize it. Okay. So what do? Arrays.sort. I will sort this array. So arrays.sort ARR. So I have sorted the array. So now I have the prices in increasing order. So now what do? Let us start. Let us start iterating through the array. Current I equal to 0, I less than n, I plus plus. I am starting iterating the array. Now, I am standing on the ith ice cream or I know the price of the ith ice cream. Now, when can I buy this ice cream? What should be the condition? I will check, boss. How much money are you carrying with yourself? You have X amount of money, right? If X is greater than or equal to ARR of I, that means the amount of money that you have with you that is sufficient to allow you to buy this ice cream. So what should I do, guys? Can anybody help me? Can anybody help me writing code? If the amount of money that you have that is greater than or equal to the price of the ice cream, then you can buy this ice cream. So what you will do? You will do a count plus plus. Boss, I can purchase this ice cream. And then I will reduce the amount of money that is left with me. So what I will do? X minus equal to ARR of I. Are you guys getting this part? That's it. That's the major logic of this question, right? If X is greater than equal to ARR, you buy that ice cream. So you increase your count and then you have bought that ice cream. So your amount of money that you have that will reduce. So you do X minus equal to ARR of I. Utna paisa aap de diye. And then you will move forward, right? And you can have an else here, right? The moment you see that the amount of money that you have that is not sufficient for you to buy this ice cream. Y equal to, can anybody help me? Y equal to over here. सोचो भाई, तुम लोग ये आंसर दोगे. Yes, Swapnil, correct. It's like similar only, right? भाई, if you have 20 rupees and the ice cream is of 20 rupees, you will buy that ना, छोड़ोगे थोड़ी ना. तुमको खत्म करना है रुपया पूरा, है ना? That's why equality is. Okay, else. Now, when do you come in the else block? You come in the else block if the price is not sufficient. If the amount of money that you have that is not sufficient for you, So what can I do, guys? Either you can simply return count here. That is also fine. Okay. जैसे else में you cannot buy any more ice cream, so simply return count. Or if you want, you can do a break also. Boss, let's break from the loop. Okay. You will come outside this for loop. Let me just zoom it out a little bit. Where is this? This is the for loop and you will return count. That's it. That is what we had to do, right? Okay, making sense? Yes, let's try to submit it. all test cases passed, right? So this is like on the hard side or on the slightly higher side that I would say, right? And guys, if I reverse the question for you, okay, how to find an sorted array after we sorted an array? I didn't get your question. Sir, तो maximum कैसे होगा equality? I didn't get it. Boss, you have to purchase as many ice creams, right? Line number 23. What is line? Line number 23 is sorting the array. What help do you need here? Array is not sorted, simply sorting the arrays. What do I tell you actually? Okay. Acha. Now, why return ARR? Why return ARR? Yes, you can expect this to be around the level of the hard question. Okay. थोड़ा इससे ऊपर नीचे हो सकता है, but if you are able to understand these kinds of questions, should be good enough, right? ठीक है, easy है. मुझे पता है these are easy. So that is what we are saying, right? If you are not able to solve these kind of questions in the test, then it's not good time for you to go to module 2. है ना? That is why. In line 29, y minus equal to, boss, let me do a dry run. Okay. Let me do a dry run. Give me any array. Okay. Let's say you have 20 rupees, or let's say you have 16 rupees आपके पास, ठीक है? You have 16 rupees, right? Now what do I do? First of all, let's try to understand, right? I want to maximize my ice cream buying. Okay. So if I buy this ice cream now of cost 15, then I won't be able to buy any other ice cream. Okay. Or let's say I will be able to buy this one, right? 2 ice creams if I buy 15 and 1. But I want to maximize the number of ice creams. So I first of all sort the array. So I will get 1, 7, 8, 10, 15. Now what do I say? I have 16 rupees available with me. This is X, right? So I first of all come to this ice cream. This is the cheapest ice cream in the shop. So let us pick up this ice cream, right? So 16 is greater than equal to 1. So you can buy this ice cream. So increase your count. Your count becomes 1 and you will spend 1 rupee for this ice cream. So X minus equal to ARR of I. So your X will become 15. Move forward. Now I have 15 rupees and this ice cream is 7 rupees. 15 greater than equal to 7? Yes. 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 So you can buy this ice cream. So what do I do? Increase count. Okay. And how much the amount of money I will be left with? 15 minus 7. So you will do 8 here. So X minus equal to ARR of 5. You will subtract this number from X. So X becomes 8. Move forward. Now you come to this one, right? Now you have 8 rupees and this ice cream is priced at 8 rupees. So can you buy this ice cream? For sure. That is why we have the equality sign. 8 is greater than equal to 8. So you can buy this ice cream. So increase the count. And how much money you will have left? 8 minus 8, that is 0. Move forward. Okay. Is 0 greater than equal to 10? No. So you cannot buy this ice cream now. You don't have sufficient money. And if you can't buy this ice cream, you definitely cannot buy all the more expensive ice creams. है ना? अगर समझ लो, if you cannot buy an item of 10,000, then how can you buy an item of 20,000 or 30,000? It is something like that. So I simply come outside the for loop and return count. Because 3 number of ice creams is the maximum number of ice creams that you can purchase. Is it making sense? How, let's do a poll. How many of folks are clear here? Okay. It's not that difficult if you ask me honestly. Okay. I won't expect. Okay. Okay. Guys, please cast your votes, right? If only 200, 300 people are casting, it doesn't give a good picture, right? So please, I would encourage कि Zoom पे करना है, you don't even have to spend much time, right? We are 405 people excluding me. So you can easily go and vote and that gives me a very good understanding of where the class is, right? I get a better picture. Okay, cool guys. So we are almost clear, right? 96% of the folks are almost clear or fully clear. So I think that indicates a good picture, right? That is a good picture, okay? So these were the 3 questions that I was supposed to take today, okay? And this gives you an idea of what kind of level you can expect in the test, right? So if you are clear with the basics, the fundamentals, I don't think you will be facing any problem in the test, okay? So now can we take some other question? Let me see. चलो यार एक easy question लेते, तुम लोग करोगे, ठीक है? मैं नहीं करूँगा, तुम लोग करोगे. This is a simple question on strings, very easy question, right? I just want you guys to actually, move your hands and try to write code. ठीक है? मैं share करता हूँ, काफी easy question है. Okay, I would label it as easy only. Let's see how many of you can do it. Very simple question. Link देता हूँ. See, the number of upwards and downwards are also showing that you don't learn a lot of things from this question, but ठीक है, beginning के लिए it's good enough, right? You can have a look at this question, right? So given a valid IP address, right? I don't know how many of you know IP addresses. नहीं पता है तो कोई बात नहीं. It is like a kind of, every machine gets an IP address so that it can communicate over the network, right? So आपको एक IP address दिया हुआ है, okay? It will be something of, 1.127. Something like, you will have 4 fields separated by dots. Now what you have to do is, you have to return a defanged version of the IP address. And what is the defanged version? A defanged IP address replaces every dot with this. It replaces every dot with this. Can anybody help me with this question? Dekho, the input is 1.1.1.1, so the output should be every dot should be replaced by this thing. Dekho. Is the question clear to everyone? Pretty simple question. Just wanted to do some practice on strings, so that strings and array matrices, right? I think that was the general demand from the folks. Is the question clear? Can anybody give me the solution? S dot replace, okay. S dot replace, you want to do that, okay. Just split कर सकते हो, you can do split also, that is also fine. ठीक है, try to do that. This can be approached in multiple methods, right? You can use the inbuilt functions that we have studied, or you can do it without the inbuilt functions also. Anything is fine, right? I will show it via both, so that even if you forget an inbuilt function inside the test, आपको पता होना चाहिए कि if I don't know the inbuilt function, how do I solve this problem? ठीक है? Why you dislike? मैंने dislike किया है क्या? हाँ. अरे I didn't like this question यार. This मतलब what is this question? मतलब to be very honest, you don't learn new concepts from here. That is why मैंने dislike करके रखा हुआ है. But yeah, ठीक है, starting में कर सकते हो, ऐसा कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Good enough question. ठीक है. देखो यही सब गलती के लिए मैं ऐसा क्वेश्चन देता हूँ. S dot caret I equal to double quotes dot. रन ही नहीं करेगा प्रोग्राम, एरर दे देगा. You are comparing a character and you are putting the character in double quotes. ठीक है. तो चलो यार करते हैं. I'll show you 2 to 3 methods, right? I'll show you 2 to 3 methods. So let's just, replace function, that is fine. ठीक है. Replace function is fine, right? So let me write here. तो मैं क्या करूँगा, string, let me call it as defanged IP. Okay, this is my new string name, is equal to, what will I do? I can use a replace method, that is fine, right? Address dot replace, and what do? I replace all dots with this thing. That is also fine, right? And you can simply return defanged IP. ठीक है, ये एक तरीका हो गया. There can be multiple ways, right? Multiple ways of doing this. अरे this is one thing. Let's try to run it and submit. ये सबसे simple तरीका जो मतलब you don't have to do much work, right? But again, I don't rely on these inbuilt methods very honestly. Okay. So what if you don't remember any of the inbuilt methods? तुम सब भूल गए, तुमको कुछ नहीं आता, ठीक है? What you know is basically a string is a collection of characters. आपको string से iterate करना आता है. So let us forget everything and let us try to do it in the most basic manner. ठीक है? मैं सब कुछ भूल चुका हूँ, right? But still I don't lose hope, right? Because I know the basics of string. Now what do? See, I make a new string. अरे ये caps lock on है मेरा यार. String. Let me call it as answer only, and I initialize with it blank string. ठीक है? Then what do? I iterate over my original string address. So what will I do? For int I equal to 0, I less than address dot length. I will iterate through the string I plus plus. And what do I see? देखो basic logic क्या है? Whenever you are standing on a character, right, which is dot, you have to just add bracket open dot bracket close to your string. So what I am trying to say, देखो, if address dot char at I, if the current character that you are standing on, okay, if that is equal to dot, if the current calendar that you are standing on is a dot, then what do? I will say answer plus equal to, instead of this dot, what I will add to the answer? I will add a string like this. देखो, ये मैं add कर दूंगा, खत्म काम, and I'll move further. But if the current character that I am standing on, is not a dot, then what do? उसको as it is add कर दो answer में, right? Answer plus equal to address unsec dot caret I. सही है? And outside this for loop, you have this answer. Simply return answer. Return the string. ठीक है? So let's try to run this as well. If I don't remember anything, this code is also good. ठीक है? और मैं तो generally ये prefer करता हूँ, ठीक है? क्योंकि you understand what is happening in the question, right? So you get a better idea. देखो time थोड़ा शायद ज़्यादा ले लिया क्योंकि the inbuilt function might be more efficient, but anyways, right? If you submit it again, it might even the time complexity might complexity, sorry, but the time taken might go down. Okay. No, it didn't go down. Anyways, right? So what is the time complexity of this approach? Time and space complexity. Can anybody help me? Anybody? Time complexity is big O of n. And for space complexity, now you have to be very clear, right? Ki boss, if I am counting the extra string, देखो boss, you can never make changes to a string in place, right? String is immutable, तो आपको नया string तो बनाना ही है. तो आपने कोई extra space नहीं लिया, that तो you have to make, otherwise you cannot do this question. Apart from that string, have you consumed any other space? No, you haven't, right? What if we don't use else? What will happen? What will happen if you... Let me try to do a dry run. What we have done, right? What have we done? Let's take an IP address, and I don't know how many folks know IP address. I'll take a very standard IP address, 127.0.0.1. ठीक है? ये होता है अपना local host का IP address होता है. Okay. Can you break in else? I asked this question to all of the folks here. What will happen if you break in else? चलो, अब यहीं से तुम लोग का understanding का test होगा. What happens if you break in else? What happens? Anybody? Can you answer? आगे का आएगा ही नहीं. Correct. See, let's try to see what will happen, right? I start iterating through this string. Is this character a dot? No, this character is not a dot. If you break here, boss, answer तो खाली रह गया ना. आपको तो full string पे iterate करना है ना. So this is not a dot. So add this one to your answer as it is. ठीक है? Come to this. This is a dot. No, it is not a dot. Add 2 as it is. Come to this character 7. Is it a dot? No, add it as it is. Now you come to this character. This is a dot. Now you don't have to add dot. But if the current character is a dot, I will be adding this to my answer. So this will get added to the answer and you move further. Okay. Again, you come to a 0. This is not a dot. Add as it is to the string. Are you getting what I am doing? Basic, very simple question, right? These kind of questions you should be able to solve, right? And extra space, yes, you are definitely using an extra string because strings are immutable, right? For sure, है ना? तो ठीक है, वो big O of n बोल भी सकते हो. But technically, if somebody asks me, I will say big O of 1 because बहुत extra string तो आपको बनाना ही है. You cannot reduce there, right? Okay, cool. So is this question clear to folks? Let's quickly have poll if we have more created. Yeah, I have, right? So can we just, quickly, do we have a poll? Yeah. Yeah, just quickly, can you cast your votes if this question is clear to everyone? Both the methods, right? The inbuilt method as well as without the inbuilt method. Sir, can you explain why were you using the name of the function when you use defang IP address? No, I didn't use the name of the function. Where did I use? मैंने लिखा था, string. अरे मैंने ऐसा कर लो ना, string. If you don't see, you can say string answer is equals to address dot replace that thing and return answer. It's not necessary to write the name of the function. ठीक है? Okay, spiral order traversal. Okay, let's take it tomorrow. That will take a little bit more time. तो कल ले लेते हैं spiral traversal को. Okay? क्योंकि वो इतने देर में होगा नहीं. This type of questions are coming in exam. Are you happy or are you sad? मतलब क्या डर लग रहा है या अच्छा लग रहा है? हाँ करेंगे, स्पाइरल करेंगे, स्पाइरल और रोटेशन कर देंगे. sad, ठीक है. Anyways, let's come to the डर लग रहा है. तो ठीक है यार, देखते हैं. Any other question do I have for you guys? हाँ यार, मतलब मैं ये सारे questions homework में देने वाला था वैसे. But if you want, I can take this question. Okay. Okay, do you recognize this question? Let's read this question, right? Let's read this question. And in this question, I'll introduce a new concept to you all. And that is also a very highly used concept, right? So, मैंने पता नहीं, मैंने homework भी दिया था एक बार ये question, interview bit से, pangram, and I didn't get any doubts from you all. So, I assume that you must be clear. But I'm pretty sure that बहुत लोग attempt ही नहीं किए होंगे, so I'm discussing this anyways, right? Check if sentence is pangram. What is pangram? Let's see. A pangram is a sentence where every letter of the English alphabet occurs at least once. Okay. So every letter from A till Z should occur at least once. Given a string, you are given a string sentence containing only lowercase English letters. So the string will be containing only letters from A to Z, right? Return true if the sentence is a panagram or false otherwise. So आपको क्या होगा? आपको एक string मिलेगा, right? And the contents of the string will be, characters, the lowercase English characters, right? So let's say I give you a string like your test is tomorrow. Not tomorrow, not scaring you, just giving an example, right? So I give you the string and ask you, is this a panagram? So you will definitely say, boss, this string is not a panagram, because there are multiple, alphabets of the English letter which have not come here. There is no Z, there is no Y, sorry, Y to hai. There is no V. समझ रहे हो? A panagram is every letter of the English, alphabet that is from A to Z should occur at least once. Okay. So this sentence, if you see, right, the quick brown fox jump over the lazy dog. This is a pangram because every character from A to Z, every character from A to Z is present in this string. Okay. If you look at lead code, this is not a pangram because sub characters. Okay. And it is told that sentence only consists of lowercase English letters. So space kuch nahi hoga. Sentence just consists of lowercase English letters. Okay. And you just have to check if it is a pangram or not. Okay. Is the question clear? मैंने ये homework में भी एक बार दिया था. I'm not sure. I had shared some extra questions with you all. If somebody has done, you might remember, right? I'll share the link with you. किसी ने ये किया है क्या? Has anybody done this question? By any chance? नहीं दिया था, ऐसा मत बोलो यार, दिया था. I remember I had given it. Done? ठीक है, मैं लिंक शेयर करता हूँ. Actually, I have collated some questions for you all, right? इधर मैं लिख के रखा हूँ. ज्यादा string miscellaneous heading था, but actually, I took from matrices and strings majorly. I will share these links with you all, right? And I've already covered one question, this one, and one pangram checking भी अभी करा दूंगा, ठीक है? Others you can try it, right? But so I'll share this. I was, making some question list for you all. But yeah, let's quickly have a look at this question, right? So boss, what do you need to do in this question? You need to ensure that all the characters from A to Z are present in the string. आपको ensure करना है कि all the characters from A to Z, small a to Z, are present in the string. And you know what? The valid characters that you can get in the string, it is from small a to small z. उसके अलावा आपको और कुछ मिलेगा भी नहीं, ठीक है? So the general idea that we use in this kind of, counting questions or whatever, right? So what I do is I make an array of size 26. ये ध्यान से सुनना. I make an array of size 26, and this array will be used for checking if a particular character has occurred or not. So I make an array of size 26. Okay. You can call this anything, whatever name you want to give to this array. Okay. And what will I say? What are the valid indexes from 0 till 25? So I will say, okay. So I will say, let us say that this is an array of booleans. Okay. So when I initialize this array, everything will be false. Everything will be false. तो मैं पता है क्या बोलूंगा guys, and let us call this array as frequency array. Okay, let's call it anything that you want, right? और ARRE बोल दो, जो बोलना है बोलो, ठीक है? So what I will say is, if देखो, this cell with index 0 ना, this will be for character A. The cell with index 1 will be for character B. The cell with index 2 will be for character C. The cell with index 25 will be for character Z. तो मैं क्या करूंगा पता है? If character A occurs in the string, na, I will mark this as true. I will mark this as true. If character, let's say M occurs, I will mark the location for M as true. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Let me give an example, right? Let me give an example. Let's say, let's take from 0 till 25. Okay. I will need somebody good in maths here to calculate indexes for me, right? So let's say the string is lead code. Okay. तो सबसे पहले क्या है? All the places are with false. All the places are from false. ठीक है? Everything is false. ठीक है? Now take flag and check lowercase alphabets 97 to 122. That won't help you, right? Code लिखने का try करना कैसे करोगे? ठीक है? This is the simplest way of doing this, right? So everything is false. मेरे को नहीं पता अभी कोई भी character आया या नहीं आया. Now what do? I iterate over the string that is given to me. What is this character, guys? This character is L. This is the L character. And at what index should you find the character L? How do I know this? Can anybody help me? How do I know at which index? ऐसे नहीं, देखो. Character A is getting mapped to index number 0. Character B is getting mapped at index number 1. Character C is getting mapped at index number 2. So can't I do something like this? Any character you get, you subtract character A from it. What will you get? देखो. If you do C minus A, na, you will get 2. You will get 2. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? See, character C ka ASCII is, let's say, 99. And character A ka ASCII is 97. So what is 99 minus 97? It is 2. So you know that index number 2 is for C in the string, in the array. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Yes. If the length of the string is 12 less than 26, for sure it will be false, right? But try to understand what I am doing. I come to the first character. And this is character L. Okay. Now, what should be the index of this character in the array? We can also do it by declaring the default value as 0. हाँ वो भी कर सकते हो, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. चलो 0 से ही कर लेते हैं. चलो यार तुम लोग को और अच्छे से समझ में आ जाएगा. Can't you use ASCII values from 0 till 20? 1 second, guys. I'll tell you. देखो guys, मेरे को this is what I don't generally expect from you folks, right? जब मैं एक question homework देता हूँ, the ideal expectation is you go and try, right? So if you would have tried this question now, I would have been very happy if you would have come with doubts कि hey Adarsh, we tried the question that you gave as homework and these are the doubts that we are getting. कैसे करना है, ठीक है? अब today when I solved this question, I have realized that most of the folks have not even looked at the questions, right? So ऐसे मत करो, मतलब it will be harmful for you only in the long run. But anyways, I'll discuss it, right? See, what I am trying to say is, you will make an array of size 26. Okay. So 26 matlab you will have 26 boxes from index 0 till index 25. Now what do I say is, everything will be 0 at first. Everything will be 0 at first. This is the question we solved in the coding marathon of pre-course. Okay, good. मतलब अब तो आप लोग को ये सब टाइप के क्वेश्चंस आने चाहिए. That is why I am trying to take all different kinds of questions, right? Okay. So what I am trying to say is, boss, let's call this array as ARR. Okay. So ARR, okay, ARR of 0, right? This is standing for character A. अगर यहाँ पे 0 है ना, इसका मतलब there is no occurrence of A in the string. Index number 1 is mapping to character B. ऐसा सोचो internally, right? Index number 2 is mapping to character C. Index number 25 is mapping to character Z. ठीक है? तो मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ? Let's say you get any character. Let's say your character is D. And I want to find, भैया, at what index of ARR will I get information for D? अगर मैं ये पूछता हूँ, at what index of ARR you will get the information for D? At index number 3. But how do you generate this index? You subtract A from D. देखो क्या होगा? What is the ASCII of A? The ASCII of A is 97. What is the ASCII of D? 98, 99, 100. When you do 100 minus 97, you get 3. So you will get the index at which the information about D is present. Now let's try to understand what do I do. Okay? Now, let's say the string is lead code. So I start iterating over the string. This is character L. So first of all, I see what is the index for this character. L के लिए कौन सा index होना चाहिए? So it should be J, K, L. 12th है तो 11th index, right? So what I will do? I will go to index number 11. I will go to index number 11 of the array and I will change this 0 to 1 to indicate what पता है? कि boss L is present in the string. Are you getting what I am trying to say? When I write a 1 here, I am telling you guys that yes, L is present in the string. L is present. L present. Okay? Move forward. I come to E. What will be the index for E? It is the 5th, so index number 4, right? So I go to index number 4. Acha guys, we have got the array a little bit, वैसा हो गया. So मतलब I am just showing you the relevant indexes for this string, right? So I go to index number 4. I come here and I write a 1. What does it make me understand? That yes, E is present in the string. Do you agree? And now let's move forward. This is another E. So I again go to index number 4 and write a 1 here. Okay? Because I am just interested in knowing that at least one E should be there. So isko 1 ही रहने दो. Okay? Then I come to character T. What is the index at which I should store whether T is present or not? कौन सा index होना चाहिए? Which index? Help me guys. मेरे को अभी count करने का मन नहीं. Index number 19. I take your word for it. So go to index number 19 and I will mark it as 1. Okay? Let's move forward. I come to character C. So I will go to index number 2, which corresponds to character C and write 1 here. I come to O. कौन सा index होगा O के लिए? 14. So I go to index number 14 and I write here a 1. Then I come to D. What is the index for D? 3. So I go to index number 3 and write a 1 here. I get a E. Go to index number 4, write a 1. Now guys, try to understand. Once you have iterated through the string, right? Now I will iterate over the array. Okay? And see what happens. I come to index number 0 and I see there is a 0 here. इसका मतलब पता है क्या हुआ? the string did not have a. So definitely it's not a pangram. So you simply return a false. Okay. So मैं क्या बोल रहा हूँ guys? Do you agree that if your string is a pangram, after you iterate through your string now, your array will contain 1 at all the indexes. Your array should contain all ones. There should be no 0 present in the array. So what do? I iterate over the string, okay, and mark the different indexes. कि हाँ भैया ये character present है, ये character present है, ये character present है. Then once you have iterated through the entire string, okay, then iterate through the array. You should get all ones. If you have all ones in the array, you return a true, that it is a pangram. But even if you get a single 0 in the array, that means this character is not present in the string. So it is not a pangram. Okay. Can't you directly do less than 26? You can do, but that is a special case, right? Special case है ना वो. अगर greater than 26 होगा तब क्या करोगे? You have to do this logic, right? So let's quickly code this up. Check if pangram, and then we will discuss. Okay. So नहीं यार, contains कितना बार करोगे? You will check if it contains A. You will check if it contains B. कितना बार ऐसे थोड़ी लिखोगे बार बार? No, that is a better way of doing this, right? Then ठीक है, other approaches works fine, right? But this is a hash maps you can use. But yeah, this is like a standard technique for solving these kind of questions where you have to do the counting of characters, right? Okay. So what do? First of all, I make a new table. Let us call it as any table. Table ही बोल देते हैं. Table, okay, is equal to new int. Okay. See, I won't be solving questions from the last test, right? We have already taken different questions, right? So if you want, you can try it yourself, right? Or just engage your friends, discuss among them. That is fine, right? एक बार खुद से try करो. I don't want to discuss everything. Okay. So I first of all make a table. What should be the length of the table, guys? Can you tell me? What should be the length of the table that we are making? 26, right? Because you have 26 characters. So index 0 will correspond to A and index 25 will correspond to Z. Now what do? I will iterate over the string. चलो string से iterate करते हैं. For int I equal to 0, I less than sentence dot length I plus plus. Okay, I'm iterating through the string. Okay. Now I am standing on the ith character. So what is the character? मैं पता है क्या बोलता हूँ? Sentence dot char at I. This is the character. Okay. And how do I know at which index this character is mapped with? I will subtract A from this character. Character mila hai, subtract A. And this is the index at which I will store information about this character. So what do? I go to table and I go to this index, which is pointed by this expression. I go to this index, right? Character minus A in the table and just set a 1 there. Is it making sense? ये character present है, तो मैं गया इसके index पे and I set the value as 1. ठीक है? Now after the for loop, you are done iterating with the string. Okay. ठीक है. Now what should I do? Now my next job should be to iterate through the table. ठीक है. तो अगर टेबल में आपको एक भी 0 दिख गया, if you see a 0 anywhere in the table, that means the character is not present. One of the characters is missing, so you have to return a false. If the table is all ones, then why 1? ऐसे ही logic. मतलब you can write, you can do anything, right? You can increase the count also if you are counting, right? मैंने 1 कर दिया कि 1 मतलब present है, 0 मतलब नहीं present है. सीधा साधा logic, right? Boolean से भी काम हो जाता. Okay. Please do a dry run on line number 6. Please try to understand, guys. Let's say you have A, B, D. This is my string, right? I have made an array of size 26. Okay. All zeros. Now try to understand, guys. Try to understand. I come to this first character. This is character A. Bhaiya, at what index do I store info about this character A? I subtract A from this character. So A minus A is 0. So I go to index number 0 and I write here 1. Boss, A to present hai. Now come to B. What is the index for B? Character B minus character A. इसीलिए कर रहा हूँ, to get the index. Okay. So character B का ASCII is 98. A का ASCII is 97. 98 minus 97 is 1. So I go to index number 1 and I write the information for B. B is also present. I come to D. What will be the index for D? It will come out to be 3. I go here and I write 1. हो गया काम? अब I have stored the information for all the characters in this table. Now I will just iterate through the table. I come at index 0, it is 1. No problem. मतलब A तो है. Come to index 1, 1 है. कोई problem नहीं. Come to index 2, there is a 0. That means this character has not occurred. The character, A, B, C. The character C has not occurred. So it is not a panagram. Okay. Any different solution won't help at this point of time, right? Hash maps तो अभी बताया नहीं हूँ ना. Okay, so what do? I just, for int I equal to 0, I less than 26, right? Because the length of the table is 26, I plus plus. Now what do? If I see table of I equal to 0, what should I do, guys? Can anybody help me? If after iterating through the string, you see that table of I is equal to 0, what should I do? इसका मतलब that character is not present. So it's not a pangram, simply return false. And guys, help me. When I come outside the for loop, इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? Table of I was never 0. It were all ones. So it is a pangram. So outside the loop, you return a true. That's it. Okay. The length of the string less than 26, you can give it false. That can be a special case. But the code that I am writing, that takes care also of that. Okay. Okay. Making sense? Acha guys, can you help me with the time and space complexity? Consider that the length of the string is n. Can you help me with the time and space complexity? I'm more interested in that now. Time and space complexity. First, time complexity. Simple hai. Big O of n. Big O of n is the time complexity, right? Big O of n is the time complexity. Acha, what is the space complexity? What is the space complexity? Help me. Constant, guys. The space complexity is constant. Because try to understand, guys, even if the length of your string is 100,000, 10,000, you are always making a table of size 26 only, right? It's independent of input. Okay, that is why. ये वाला line बताना है, ये बता देता हूँ एक बार. line number 6. देखो guys, try to understand. I have come to a character, let's say character F, okay? And I want to store information that this character F is present. So boss, I am doing a mapping. Index number 0 of my table will store information for A. Index number 1 of my table will store information for B. Index number 2 of my table will store information for C. Index number 3 will store information of D. Index number 4 will store information of E. Index number 5 will store information of F. So what do? When I come to F, मेरे को पता है F is present in the string, right? So I want to go to index number 5 and write a 1 here. ठीक है, तो मेरे को क्या करना है? I just have to do table of 5 is equal to 1. अब ये 5 कैसे मिलेगा? If the character is F ना, subtract A from it. This will give you the offset, right? A minus A is 0, B minus A is 1, C minus A is 2, D minus A is 3. Likewise, if you do a F minus A, now you will get the integer 5. So F minus A will be 5. You go to table of 5 and write a 1 there. Okay? You can use hash maps also here. Yes, empty array by default has 0. When you make an array empty, by default it will be all zeros. Okay? Cool, folks. So I'll just take a quick poll if we have poll. Otherwise, we are done today. Okay. Okay, guys. So hopefully you got an idea of what level of questions, ये logic हमें कैसे pop up होगा. ये logic आपको ऐसे pop up होगा कि first of all, when the questions are given as homework, you need to try them. Then if you don't understand it, right, you will watch some videos, you will ask doubts, right? And that is where we learn new concepts, right? See, coding is all about learning. Nobody knows everything and it will be a constant journey of learning, ठीक है? तो जो अलग-अलग questions आपको मिलता है, आप उन्हें solve करिए, ठीक है? So definitely you will get new understandings when you solve the questions. Okay? Okay, guys. So I'll just stop the recording.